The following is a paid program, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent the opinions of the management of this station or Pamel Broadcasting. And the views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers of this program are solely their own. They do not represent or reflect the views, policies, or official position of ACA, its affiliates, or its staff. ACA does not endorse any statements made during this broadcast. This is 1 in 31 Autism Today, a presentation from Anderson Center for Autism. 1 in 31 Autism Today is a weekly show devoted to autism spectrum disorder.
Good morning and welcome to 1 in 31 Autism Today, the new name of our podcast dedicated to topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, Chief Development Officer at Anderson Center for Autism. And the Anderson Foundation for Autism is very proud to bring to you 1 in 31 Autism Today and this morning's discussion with Alan Day, who is the CEO and co-founder of Autism Checked. Alan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to be part of the work that you're doing. It's very happy to be supporting you.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to learn more about what Autism Checked is all about. I know that we have a lot of commonalities when it comes to looking towards a world that is as inclusive and accessible to everyone as possible, and that can play out in multiple scenarios, whether in home communities, schools, businesses. But when you look at the world and all of the opportunities that exist for individuals and families to experience the entire world and what it has to offer, travel and all that comes with it is a big part of that. So I think that you have a lot to share with us about what Autism Checked is and some of the programs that you're running right now. But I always like to start with a little background on my guests. So can you tell us, just as far back as you want to go, who you are and how you got to what you're doing now?
Well, you may tell from my accent, I'm not originally from the United States. I won't tell you how long ago, since I was born in the United Kingdom. Suffice to say that I've been here 35 years now. But I haven't lost the accent. To go back on the story of Autism Double Checked, you don't have to go all the way back to London. I have been a career travel professional, but I also have a son on the spectrum. When we went on a couple of family trips, we realized that this was more difficult than just getting on a plane and going somewhere. I came back from one trip and said, I've got to research what help is out there for traveling with autism. Trouble is that my searches came up with absolutely zero. There was nothing out there. So, I better do something about this. So I turned my travel agency over from luxury travel to travel for families who had somebody impacted by autism. And I learned quite a lot from doing that. It was doing okay. And then I ran into my co-founder, who was a lifetime aviation guy. In fact, the guy that built Virgin Atlantic for Richard Branson.
Really? Just your pal, that guy.
And he also has a neurodiverse child. And we were sitting there complaining that the industry just was not ready for our community. Again, it's one of those things. Somebody better do this. So we reached out various ways. I reached out to clients that I'd assisted with travel and asked them what things would make it easier for you to travel. And two things came up overwhelmingly. The first, the absolute biggest one, was staff that understand our needs. And then the second was information that we can use to plan in advance. We took these two things off to the Center for Excellence on Autism Spectrum Disorder at Southern Connecticut State. And, hey, what do we need to do to... And backwards and forwards, they pointed us in the right direction. So, okay, training for the staff that understand our needs, check. Visitor guide with all of the sensory information for places they would want to visit, check. And that became the company Autism Double Checked. And that essentially is the certification program that we offer. Now, we're taking it to hotels, to airlines, to airports. And I know you want to ask a question about the airport later on, and to travel agents.
That's amazing. So at this point, how old is the company at this point?
We started in 2015, but that was really 2015, I think, was multiple trips up and down the Merritt Parkway to Southern Connecticut. It was largely that. couple of years of building out some infrastructure to deliver all of this. And just about beginning of 2020, we were ready to start really motoring. And then something happened. I can't remember what.
I was just writing down a question about, did anything change your trajectory during COVID? And apparently it slowed it down just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. We'd really gotten all of the obstacles, all of the barriers sorted out. We were ready to really motor with this thing. And we couldn't find anybody in the travel industry that would even pick up the phone to say hello. They were busy trying to survive. So it took us a while to get going. Since 2020 sort of faded away into memory, in the past 5 years, we've been really motoring, come up with some really substantial clients. Breeze Airways, who have a local presence at Bradley. It's Virgin Hotels, Margaritaville Hotels, some substantial people. People
and businesses seeing a lot of people come through, which is really the impact you want to have. You want to try to impact the lives of as many people as possible, I would think.
And it's funny. I was discussing it with a new client today. I was very excited to be, or a potential new client today. I was very excited to be speaking to them because of their attitude. And if you look at the people that we have taken on board already, this is the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
But some people look at it as a bricks and mortar industry, and you've got to offer a hospitality feature. And some people are there because they genuinely are very hospitable. And that is the whole ambience of the whole culture of the company. And that's in common with the clients that we've done best with, is their openness to be hospitable and to be hospitable for everybody.
Yeah, I love that. I love the distinction that you make because, you have a business and you took what sounds like a very successful business and transformed it into a very specific business related to a personal connection with your son, obviously. But I think being able to make the distinctions between business side of things and then what I always call sort of your why it always comes down to people and their motivation to do what they're doing. So love that you're identifying the attitude of hospitality, which is, it gets lost sometimes when you're just talking about, I'm in the hospitality industry. Well, what does that mean? If you're a hospitable person at your core and this is what you really want, then you're going to take that extra effort. Because I would assume it does take extra effort. You're talking about a certification program. You're talking about two main areas of staff training and pre-planning information. I know just from some of the work that our consulting team has done at Anderson with certain recreational and also transportation hubs, that's a lot. You're not talking about a small number of staff who need to be trained. You're talking about people who are trained heavily to do very specific jobs, and you're asking them to then think about it from really a very specific and unique perspective of family members and individuals with autism traveling.
Yeah, and it's all relative. The biggest effort is actually dedicating the staff to doing the training.
Yeah.
And that it seems very variable. When you can take a motel in Billings, Montana, with a total staff of 20, so, that's not much. Look at this huge resort in Riviera Maya, Mexico, with 700 staff. But it's all relative. The amount that they've got to put into those 20 staff relative to the size of the organization is just as much as the people putting in the effort for 700. We're not teaching these people to be therapists. We're not doing what we set out to do, getting them to understand the need. But even that is, it's a tidy amount of online training. We worked out, again, I think with Southern, if you tried to cover everything, you were going to take more time than people had. So one of the things we did was we refined it so different people in different areas get their own unique course. A food and beverage server in a restaurant or a hotel, very different course from, say, a flight attendant on an airline, because they're meeting the community in different circumstances. So explain to them what is going to come up in the circumstances that they encounter, what to look for as points of sensitivity, and to react to what they will encounter. Don't react to my kid only eats Kraft macaroni and cheese. It's if it's an airplane. These are the snacks we have. I'm sorry you don't have anything else. Have you brought your own stuff on board? It's a different thing from you don't need to worry about ear pressure sitting down in a restaurant.
Right, exactly. No, I think that that's really wise, and also probably gets more buy-in from the people that you're training, because it's hard to listen, just sit through a training or an instruction on anything if you don't see the relevance to what you're doing every day. Busy
Yeah.
people, but when you can tailor something to what they're going to encounter on a regular basis, I would think that you get more sort of openness and interest in learning what you're getting across.
Yeah, and it's one of the great advantages of having come from a travel industry background.
Yeah.
It's not just you encounter a flight attendant, you encounter whatever you encounter. We're looking at it from the point of view of the other side of that. What does this look like through a flight attendant's eyes? And we're in a position to do that. Ditto with reception on a hotel. What does this look like?
Yeah.
And it leads to some marvelous anecdotes, particularly for an organization that empowers their staff. Lovely
I'm
story.
going to stop you right there, only because we have to take a quick break. But when we come back, that's a perfect starting point, because I was going to ask you about some stories, some experiences that have really happened that stand out to you.
Please then start off by asking me about Margaritaville in Hollywood.
Will do. Okay, this is 1 in 31 Autism Today. We're going to take a short break and then come right back with Alan Day from Autism Double Checked. We'll be right back.
Stand Up to Cancer asked leading cancer researchers to speak about why they do their work.
Two words come to mind for me. One is responsibility. The other is purpose.
It's just so inspiring to do research that impacts human lives.
Stand Up to Cancer has been a critical partner in advancing research for cancer.
Cancer research saves lives.
So please help us fight in this battle against cancer.
Be a part of the team that ends cancer at standuptocancer.org.
What are you doing out there?
Come on!
I saw you at the game the other night. Yeah, you. Up there getting mad, acting like we're all out there making $1 million a game. Well, let me be real with you. This isn't the pros. It's school sports, and it's a game, our game. So please, let us play.
School sports fans, remember, when you cheer for your team, make noise for the right reasons. This message presented by the NFHS and the NIAAA.
And all student athletes in New York.
And now, 1 in 31, Autism Today, continues on 100.7 WHUD. This is a weekly community affairs presentation from the Anderson Center for Autism.
Welcome back to 1 in 31, Autism Today, the podcast related to topics dedicated to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky from Anderson Foundation for Autism, and I'm talking today with Alan Day, CEO and co-founder of Autism Double Checked. You can check out their website, at autismcheck.com. And as promised, Alan, we're back from our break, and I'd love to ask you to tell us some stories about what happened it was in Hollywood, right?
Yeah, it's Hollywood, Florida. This was the Margaritaville resort there. Young gentleman on the front desk had a family arrive way before normal check-in time. They'd had a morning flight. So they came to the desk. So, oh, yeah, you're in such and such a category. Don't have any rooms ready now. Possibly not until around about 3 o'clock. He said he could see instantly from their son's reaction what was at play here.
Mm-hmm.
I said, oh, I think that's going to cause you a lot of distress. What I would like to do is offer you a complimentary upgrade to the next category up, and I have rooms in that category available now. Come on. How great was that?
That's great. In the training that person received was, I would think, front of house type of thing. So reception, host, hostess, somebody who's greeting you at the desk when you're coming in to board a plane, flight attendants. Is part of their training about reading those nonverbal cues? And it sounds like he very quickly identified that this was that defeated feeling of like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do now?
Yeah, it's that, Eliza, and it's also how variable that might be. Mm-hmm. Because it's not going to be the same reaction as you and I know. It's not going to be the same reaction from every individual. A large part of the training is think about the spectrum, think about the variability in what you might encounter. And somebody who's really taken that on board will be able to cope not just with people on the spectrum, but a whole variety of hidden issues, a whole variety of neurodiverse issues, and even other hidden issues that are not directly communicated. They're going to be more sensitive to it.
Exactly.
What is happening that I'm not visibly seeing?
And also being prepared to sort of seamlessly, without making a big deal out of it, being able to have a backup plan. Oh, here's what we could do here to accommodate you and your family, as opposed to, well, let me make you wait here for 10 minutes while I go in the back and talk to my manager and my supervisor and see. It's sort of like, I think that being prepared with a couple of resources, actionable things that they can just offer in the moment probably also makes a difference, because the last thing somebody wants when they're in that, arrival on vacation and you want to relax and your loved one needs a place to decompress, or whatever it is that they might need, you just want to sort of seamlessly get there. So I love that anecdote. That's great. Any others? Do you have anything else that stands out to you that you think?
Not directly related to the training, but I know that you wanted to talk a little about Bradley Airport. And they are the first airport that we have certified.
Okay.
Again, it goes to attitudes. It's they were eager to be more accommodating. So they were a great case in point. And we are aware of, have seen, aside from what we do, a program around for practice boardings.
Yes.
Now, those work on the basis of community gets invited. You have to register because that information is going to go into TSA to cut a boarding pass.
Right.
But on the appointed day, you turn up, you get your boarding pass from the ticket desk, you go through TSA, you wait at the gate until your zone is called, you board the plane, you sit down, you listen to the announcements, have the snack service, and then you disembark.
Mm-hmm.
Great piece of practice. There were other programs around the country, but they're not offered everywhere. So we will fill in some gaps. And one of the gaps was nobody was offering the program at Bradley. Mm-hmm. Now, it's practice. Practice is what makes things for our community. It's why these programs were ever introduced. But not everybody gets it the first time round. Mm-hmm. There's a young gentleman named Jake who came along to the first event at Bradley. He kind of made it through TSA, but sort of turned around and we've got to get the hell out of there immediately then. And the second event, he got through TSA and he got to the gate and waited at the gate, but you couldn't get him on the aircraft. For the third event, he went all the way through. He sat on the aircraft. He listened to all of the announcements. When we came to invite him to the fourth event, his mother said, or his family to the fourth event, his mother said, oh, in between times, we actually took a flight to Orlando. Now, come on, this is a kid who's terrified, struggled. Although he did technically get to the other end of TSA, he hadn't really dealt with that barrier. And there he is taking his own flight. So
that's a big success.
This being us, we invited him and his mother to come, not to practice the fourth time round, but come as guests of honor and tell the families this is possible.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's so great. That's very reinforcing and reassuring, I think, to probably a lot of people listening who might honestly think that these are out of reach. At Anderson, definitely our approach is through our mission and through all the work that we do is really acknowledging the things that sort of often get honestly sort of let go of in kind of a mourning state for a lot of families when they're starting to see the things that they think may not happen for their child or experiences their child might not have. We hold a prom for that reason. We hold a very traditional high school graduation ceremony for that reason. Our consulting team has been born out of that reason. But what you're doing, and then seeing that come to reality where, somebody gets to have a successful actual trip on a plane to Orlando, you're, I think, in many ways giving individuals and families something that may have been sort of let go of for a while in terms of that might just never happen for us. We're running a little bit low on time. I do want to ask you, going back to your personal sort of why you did this, you and your co-founder, when you think about your son and your own family experience, does it come full circle for you? How do you feel about the fact that you went in this direction and where it is today? It's only been a few years, but has there been an impact for you and for your son?
Oh, let me tell you about the trip that we took. My family took last August with transatlantic from here to the place that I came from. We visited London.
Amazing.
He was able to stay in a hotel room, and not even a connecting room. This was a hotel room 4 doors down the corridor.
Wow.
And able to cope with it. Now, naturally, we've been practicing, but it's with some of the things that we've learned as we've gone along the way. So, yes, it has had a practical effect for us personally.
That's great.
And then you just get the personal impact you want to the story. And this is sort of way back. I spoke to a single mother with a child who was then 8 and asked her how her trip had gone. And she said, Alan, you have to understand, my son is very limited verbally. Some words, some days it's nothing, some days it's a word. Once in a very rare time, he puts 2 words together. Towards the end of this trip, he looked up at me and said, Mummy, I'm so happy.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. When you know you've had that sort of impact, when you say, what's the why? That's the why.
That's
if
the
you
why.
can have an impact like that, everything you do is worthwhile.
Absolutely. I think that's what I meant in the beginning, is that by nature, through your work, I think you're providing access in a way that hasn't been provided before to people who can now experience parts of the world and just experiences that many people honestly take for granted. And I think it's wonderful, and I love that you're getting that kind of feedback. I do have a logistical question, I guess, practical question. Who are the people providing the training? Is that you and your colleague, or do you have a team of people who do these trainings?
We have a team. It usually starts from either myself or my co-founder, just because we're industry people. Then it gets bounced off sort of a selection of academics for input, comes back, we then sort of go back to the tech team to build it out, and then run the final version back through the academics to make sure we didn't lose anything in the presentation and the visuals. It's an iterative process, and one of the 2 of us is sitting as quarterback for that, or traffic cop, whichever way you like to look at it. Just directing and making sure that we're getting all of the right input to deliver maximum impact.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I was just curious. I figured that was something our listeners might want to know. So I'm going to give your website out again, which is autismcheck.com. Is there any other place you'd encourage people to go to see more of what you're doing and how they can either get involved or access the resources?
There are a couple of things that I would suggest. First of all, within that site, go to the directory of certified organizations, and that will tell you places that have been through the full process, and every one of them has a visitor guide. That's the one with all of the information. All of our rooms have blackout curtains. All of our rooms don't have blackout curtains, whatever it is.
So you know what to expect.
Yeah. And then also take a look at the page for Autism Passport. This is something that we originated. I originated based on Brenda Smith-Miles' The Learner Snapshot. I decided to adapt that to the travel industry, and she wholeheartedly applauded this. Basically, it's a way to describe your person's needs in 16 or 17 different areas: sensitivity to noise, use of assistive devices, issues with waiting. Do any of our people have that? It's just describe your person's needs in detail. But once you've logged that up as a passport, you can share it with any certified hotel, any certified airline. It's the same lot of things. Share it with your travel agent as long as they're certified. So you put the information down once, but you can send it where you need it to be in order to get your trip seamless. So
that's great. And a good way to recognize also that most of the people who are going to be making use of these services are extremely busy, often overwhelmed, and certainly not in a position to be filling out paperwork every single time they want to try to go somewhere. I also noticed, and I'll just reiterate, autismcheck.com, when you're looking at the list of certified locations, it's about 14 pages worth of different locations and types of businesses. So I would encourage our listeners to definitely check that out.
And listen, use the filters. We've got some unique filters there. One of the things we ask each place to do is, what are your busiest months? What are your quietest months? And you can actually filter hotels by quietest month. If you are planning to travel in September, check the September box for quietest month. It will only show you properties September is their quietest month.
Again, very helpful, and it takes, because this is your travel agent experience talking. It takes away so much of the going down the rabbit holes that can take time and energy and often be discouraging and cause people to stop looking. So I love that you've taken the time to do that. We do have to end the interview. We're out of time. But again, I would encourage everybody to go check out autismcheck.com. There's a ton of information on there. And Alan Day, it was an absolute pleasure talking with you. I'm so pleased that you decided to make this turn in your career with your co-founder, because it seems like it's having a tremendous effect, and we'll continue to do so.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to speak with you, and good luck with 1 in 31 and everything that is going into that.
Thank you so much. This is 1 in 31 Autism Today. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, and remember, Anderson cares.
You've been listening to 1 in 31, Autism Today, a weekly presentation from Anderson Center for Autism. Join them for another edition of the show next weekend.